Around 1324, West Africa. Mansa Musa stood before the gates of his palace. Behind him rose a royal court adorned in gold. Before him stretched a procession. As far as the eye could see, what was passing through his mind in that moment? According to the chronicles of the Islamic world, Mansa Musa was a devout Muslim. And he was determined to fulfill the sacred duty of making the pilgrimage to Mecca, not simply once in his lifetime, but with a grandeur unlike anything the world had seen. The Mali Empire. Its borders shifted across the years, but at its height, it stretched an estimated 2.8 million square kilometers. Home to millions, some estimates reach tens of millions, it was one of the most vital sources of gold for the Mediterranean and Islamic worlds. Its wealth rested not on gold alone, but on its stranglehold over the trade networks crossing the Sahara, controlling the flow of taxation and commerce at the crossroads of civilizations. And now, its emperor was about to set out on a journey. Accounts of the procession's scale vary across historical sources. Yet the chronicles of the Islamic world are unanimous on one point. It was extraordinary in its magnitude. Among those accounts, one description stands above the rest. His heralds marched ahead, draped in silk, golden staffs in hand. Scores of camels bore the weight of gold. The exact numbers depend on the sources, but every account agrees. The amount of gold he carried was immense beyond measure. One man's pilgrimage to Mecca moved with the full might of an empire at its back. The journey stretched thousands of kilometers, across desert sands, across great rivers. In every village and city along the way, Mansa Musa gave gold. To the poor, to the mosques, to merchants he passed along the road, to travelers he encountered by chance. It was an act of faith, and it was a declaration of imperial power. But this very generosity would soon send tremors through an entire economic world. Mansa Musa did not yet know this. When he arrived in Cairo, the city shook. Shook is not a metaphor. The people of Cairo, quite literally, could not comprehend what was unfolding before them. A vast procession poured through the city's gates. Camels laden with gold filled the streets. Mansa Musa lingered in Cairo for some time, drawing enormous attention through his generosity and trade. Throughout his stay, he gave gold without restraint. To the poor, to the mosques, to scholars, to holy men, the people of Cairo were swept up in wonder. But when this miracle ended, the city began to change, quietly, inexorably. Economics obeys simple laws. When supply grows, value falls. Around 1324, what happened in the markets of Cairo? The historian Al-Umari visited Cairo 12 years after the pilgrimage and recorded the testimony of those who had witnessed it firsthand. After Mansa Musa departed, the value of gold in Cairo never returned to what it had been. Gold flooded the city, and so gold lost its worth. According to historical sources, the exchange rate of gold fell by approximately 25%. And that broken market did not recover for 12 years. But the damage did not stop at Cairo. Across the Mediterranean lay a web of trade routes, deeply and intricately intertwined. Cairo, Alexandria, Tunis, Genoa, Venice. Gold flowed through every thread of this web. When Cairo's gold price collapsed, its ripples spread across this vast network, through trade, exchange rates, and the balance between gold and silver. One man's pilgrimage had sent shockwaves through the entire Mediterranean economy. Mansa Musa still did not know. Mansa Musa was at peace. Walking the road to Mecca, he was fulfilling the duty his faith demanded of him. To share one's wealth, this was the teaching of Islam. He was living exactly as he had been taught. In all likelihood, his heart was full. No record survives of his inner thoughts, but given what we know, he almost certainly believed he was doing what was right. Yet behind him, the markets of Cairo were beginning to fracture. Merchants across the Mediterranean were beginning to feel the strain. And when the journey home began, Mansa Musa would come face to face with a new reality. Much of the gold he had carried, given away in alms, bestowed as gifts, spent to sustain the great procession, was gone. By the time Mansa Musa turned homeward, what remained in his hands was nothing like what he had set out with. And it is here that history records one of its most remarkable episodes. Mansa Musa borrowed gold on the journey home. It is said that, his funds running short on the return route, he took loans from Egyptian money changers at steep interest. The emperor of an empire, one of the most vital sources of gold in the entire Mediterranean and Islamic worlds, had borrowed gold. That is how completely he had spent it. After Mansa Musa returned to Africa, the Mediterranean continued to shift, slowly, silently. 12 years. That is how long the gold market remained broken, refusing to heal. Once an equilibrium shatters, it does not simply return. Egyptian merchants suffered. Markets across North Africa fell into disarray. The entire trade network linking the Mediterranean felt consequences no one had anticipated. One pilgrim had redrawn the economic map of the world. Mansa Musa's pilgrimage left behind another mark on history. Around 1375, in the Spanish region of Catalonia, cartographers produced the Catalan Atlas. Now held in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France, this map bears the image of Mansa Musa. In a corner of West Africa, a king, crowned in gold, holding a golden orb in his hand. Beside him, words are inscribed. Lord of the richest and most renowned land of gold and abundance in all the world. The Europeans knew his name. 50 years after his pilgrimage, the maps of the world still recorded him. How vast a memory one man's actions can leave behind. Historians have attempted to calculate the wealth of Mansa Musa. One modern estimate places his fortune at $400 billion in today's money. Yet most historians are quick to note that converting pre-modern wealth into modern monetary terms is fraught with difficulty, and that such figures carry enormous margins of uncertainty. What is certain is this: he commanded an empire that earned him the title of one of history's greatest accumulators of wealth. But here lies the great irony. The man who possessed unimaginable riches spent himself to nothing on a single pilgrimage and came home in debt. Wealth, when spent, disappears, no matter how vast. Mansa Musa is believed to have died sometime in the 1330s. Some sources say 1332, others 1337. Historians disagree. During his reign, the Mali Empire shone with a brilliance all its own. It held the greatest gold supply in the Mediterranean and Islamic worlds, sheltered the great city of learning that was Timbuktu, and governed a vast and diverse people. And after his death, the empire began its long walk toward fracture. History repeats itself. The height of a great empire is often the first whisper of its fall. Through his pilgrimage, Mansa Musa showed the world who he was. How great his wealth, how deep his faith. Yet in doing so, he shook the markets of the world without ever intending to. Good intentions can breed unintended consequences. Wealth can sow disorder. Human actions do not always yield the outcomes we intend. In recent scholarship, historians have argued that no single word, not even wealthy, can capture what Mansa Musa truly was. The empire's riches were not built on gold alone. They were built on control of the great trade routes crossing the Sahara, of salt and ivory, of the taxes levied on commerce itself. The Mali Empire was not merely a source of gold. It was an empire that controlled the flow of wealth itself. And Mansa Musa's pilgrimage was, in part, a declaration of that dominance to the world. Why do modern economists study his pilgrimage? Because it stands as one of history's most powerful examples of how a single act of goodwill can send devastating ripple effects through an entire market. There was no war, no sanction, no act of aggression. Only one man acting in accordance with his faith. And yet the consequences held markets captive for 12 years. So what can we learn from this story? One man's actions sent ripples through an entire system. Unintended consequences outran the intentions that gave rise to them. Wealth is power, but how that power is wielded, even by the wealthiest among us, can shake the world. And so I put this question to you. Every action carries within it the seeds of unintended outcomes. Good intentions shook a market, Faith sent ripples through an economy. Wealth unleashed disorder. Mansa Musa was not a villain. He simply did what he believed was right. If you held unimaginable wealth and power in your hands, how would you choose to use it? And if a single person's actions can change the world, what ripples are your own choices sending out, even now? History speaks to each of us differently. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you for witnessing this moment in history with me. Here at Turning Point History, we chase the human dramas that the textbooks leave untold. The Golden Emperor of the Mali Empire. The moment one man's decision shook the Mediterranean. The turning points that changed the course of civilization. If these are the stories that speak to you, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss what comes next. And a like goes a long way in helping this story reach the world. See you in the next one.